Today is September 11th, 2020. It's been 19 years since the attack on the Twin Towers in New York. And this is podcast number 5. Mario is at your service.
Really? I thought it was podcast number 2.
No, this is podcast number 5.
No.
Because we did the first 2, which you've never posted, and then we've done 2 since COVID.
Oh, well, officially it's
This is
2.
the third one. Well, then actually officially it's 3. If you want to be that way.
Okay,
So
fine.
this is either the 5th or the 3rd podcast, depending on who you ask. But anyways, Mario brought in Jimmy because it's his birthday.
Yeah, it was my birthday. Yeah, 2 days ago. No.
I saw on Instagram everybody posting happy birthday, Jimmy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't really like texting people, so I was like, you know what? Tomorrow's Friday. I know Jimmy's going to go to the Boys and Girls Club. I want to wish him happy birthday there.
And you did it. You did it. You finally did it. Even though it's 2 days late, you still did it.
I still did it.
That still means a lot. Thank you, man.
Damn, man. I really appreciate you, Jimmy.
Shoot, man.
And you're a great friend, man.
Man,
Great, man.
so many people told me that, and I'm just glad to be somewhat of a role model to others and stuff, and other kids. I'm glad to have influence them.
Yeah, you inspired me in many ways because you're such a hard working person,
Mm-hmm.
and I see that in
Thank you.
everything you do,
Thank
and you
so
inspire
much.
me. And that's what I like about you and you being my friend.
Yeah, man. Everyone's my friend, man. Like each person I meet, it's a great privilege, It's a
Yeah.
blessing. So, yeah. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to.
Well, everybody, if you're watching this, wish happy birthday to Jimmy.
Thank you.
I think they're just listening. 'cause
Or
there's no
listening.
video.
Just
Oh yeah,
listen.
I forgot we don't do the videos no more.
Yeah, but I want to ask Jimmy 2 questions.
All right.
So Jimmy, so is this your 18th year of life?
Oh no, it's my 17th year.
7th year of life. Okay,
Yep.
so what would you say was one of the big highlights of your 16th year of life?
What was the biggest highlights? I mean, part of it was already taken away due to this COVID thing, but
Yeah.
the biggest thing was probably, during the holidays,
Uh-huh.
just spending most of that time with my friends for like
Yeah.
one last time before everything started to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that really like reflected, of what life was for me. Just
Yeah.
hanging out. It was normal life. It was really nice. So
Cool.
yeah.
And then the second question is, what do you look forward to most in your 17th year of life?
What do I look forward to most? Getting those scholarships, getting ready for college, basically.
Cool.
Staying prepared.
All right. Is this your last year of high school, or?
Yep, 12th grade.
Or where were you? Oh wow, so you're gonna graduate when you're 17.
Yeah,
That's nice.
still
And so,
young.
where are you thinking about going? Community college, or you want to go to a 4-year?
Honestly, recently I've been thinking about like maybe a UC, but
Okay.
mostly I've been thinking about trade school.
Good man.
Yeah,
That's how you make money.
yeah. Just like it's cheaper than most college. Well, almost all colleges,
Yeah.
and you get to put your life on a job.
Yeah, it's way more practical.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
realistic.
Well,
Mhm.
cool, man. Well, we wish you the best of luck. Thanks for
Awesome, yeah,
crashing our podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you.
You want to get a shout out any anybody to follow you on social media? You want to put that out, or?
Nah,
Oh,
I'll just
okay.
keep it mysterious for now.
Oh, it's
you know.
cool. Right,
Alright.
Alright,
Yeah,
thank you,
but,
Jimmy.
But
I
thank
really
you so
appreciate
much for having me for now. Even
Yeah.
it was for a short while, but thank you so much. And shout out to Mario and
Larson.
Larson.
Yeah,
Larson.
Yeah, this is
Larson the goat.
Yeah, Mario's Bean Talk podcast.
Yeah, the Bean Talk. Everyone should listen in. It's really cool in here. It's chill from what I know.
Thank you,
And
Jimmy.
yeah, thank you so much for having me.
All right, Jimmy.
Alright,
Okay, so
appreciate it.
Andres is now going to jump on Jimmy's mic here, and so Mario, do you actually want to talk about what you wanted to talk about?
What? Talk about what?
Well, you said it back in the lab, the computer lab.
I say many things, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. See, like I guess it goes to show how like
Politics.
No, I didn't say
politics-
nothing
yeah,
about
you
politics.
said you wanted to talk about Trump and Biden.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, you didn't say that. All right. So what do you want? So Mario, this is your 5th podcast or 3rd podcast, depending on who you ask. I think I like it keeping it at 5 because people are like,
Second.
people will be like, "What man? Where's the first one? Where's 1 and 2?"
It would be the
And
bad.
they'd be like, "Oh man, those are only for those who subscribe."
or become a member, a level 4.
Follow your
those-
Patreon, your,
Yeah,
your
those who
OnlyFans.
support you on Patreon can listen to the first two.
My OnlyFans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta open up OnlyFans with just beans.
Yeah.
Take pictures of beans. Can help you with that. Just the lighting's
You
pretty
know
good
what?
nowadays. The
Who
orange
knows?
skies.
Who knows, man? Some people might be into that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Make some cash.
But anyways, what do you want to talk about?
I don't know,
Do
man.
you want me to ask you some questions?
What
Because I do want to know, for instance, like learning the new social ways of life among the young people. Are you considered a Gen Zer, or are you too young to be a Gen Zer?
I don't even know, man.
You don't even know. All right.
I
Are
just
you
go
a
with
Gen
the flow.
Zer?
I think I don't even know. I don't even know what the criteria.
I don't know the criteria.
I always thought I
myself.
was a millennial, but I guess I'm not. But I found out that like 30-year-olds are millennials.
Yeah, millennials
Yeah.
are like old
So,
now.
I might be
know
Gen
I'm
Z.
definitely millennial. I am, because I am 30.
Okay.
But I don't know about, because you're 22, right?
I'm 22, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm in that same decade. I don't know if it's like 30s and up is or below, or if there's like a I don't know.
So, but
So
when-
ask
but,
away.
Like, for instance, like the new one, like I thought, like, so there's this friend of mine. She just turned 22, and she was like, she texted me. Sorry, I texted her, and she responded immediately, and she's like, "Oh, sorry, I hope that wasn't creepy." I was
Mm.
like, "Is that a thing now? Like, it's creepy to respond immediately? Like, do you know anything about this?"
Sometimes it depends who you're talking to, but I don't think it's creepy because sometimes you're just on your people are on their phone.
Yeah,
you get a
yeah,
message
that's
like,
what
"Oh,
I
let me
think all
pick-"
the time.
Yeah.
I don't consider it creepy because I'm right next to my phone. It's natural for me to respond
Yeah,
quickly, man.
yeah. But I was just like, I was just shocked. I was just like, "Is that a thing now? Like,
But yeah, some people do consider it kind of creepy. I don't know why, or like
I
they're weird.
guess so. I mean, it's
you're just
a,
sitting there waiting, like."
Yeah, I guess they get the image from that. Like you're just there waiting for them to like send you a text. I think that's their perspective on it.
Wow.
remember you could just show up at your friend's house and knock on the door. It's like, hey, what's up? And you just hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't do that anymore. Now that's weird.
yeah, that's
It's
like
considered
what-
weird now. Like, what are you
what
doing?
are
You
you
didn't even let me know
yeah.
you're coming.
I
Why are
remember
you
that.
at my
Okay,
house?
do you have a mask?
Go away.
Any other
Sure.
pop cultural references?
There was another one I had in mind, and I'm not going to remember it, so maybe we'll have to move on from that. So, the new school year has started since last time we spoke,
Yes,
and you're now having to do classes on Zoom,
yes.
right? Or is your school doing something different?
No, yeah, it's
Is it
Zoom.
Zoom.
Yeah.
So, like, what do you think? Do you think this is like? Do you feel like you're actually learning anything?
Somewhat, yeah, but since we usually spend like 2 hours around like each class period, I feel like there's some learning taken away because it's not like the full hour. Because like 1 hour is doing class and 1 hour is just doing our own thing, doing our own work, and yeah, I think it's like I feel like we learn more in class and online because we just don't have enough time
Yeah.
than face to face
Yeah.
being physically there.
What do you think of this analogy? What's better, going on a date with someone in person, or going on a date with them on like FaceTime or like on Skype?
Well, obviously on person.
Exactly. So like, wouldn't you say it's kind of similar with like your teacher? Like you would feel like you have a better engagement with the teacher. You can
Yeah.
learn more when you're actually
Definitely,
with them.
yeah.
So like, do you think that this is gonna like cause harm to a lot of students?
Like in what way? Like
As in
emotionally?
they're not gonna learn as well as they could have.
Oh yes, definitely. Yes, definitely. They actually this year, I think 2021 also, colleges aren't required to look at an ACT or ACT.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's not a
lucky.
standard because of
they
obviously
can't take
this
your
learning
test.
situation that we have.
It's too bad the SAT and ACT, those cursed institutions, can't figure out how to do an online test. Seriously, I mean, like when my brother-in-law became a nurse, he took like their whatever their state mandated test in order to you had to pass that if you want to become a nurse. He took that; it was all on a computer.
Hmm.
Like they figured out how to do that, and that's like a big deal, like to become a nurse. And so like, why can't honestly, I have no faith in SAT and ACT. I think they're so ridiculous because I did really bad, but I proved those bad word. Insert bad word. I proved those wrong because I did really good in college. I graduated summa cum laude, with the
Nice.
highest honors. And so like, even though
Yeah, what is
I did
that?
really bad, I did including writing, including the writing score, I got a I got a 1250.
Oh wow.
So it's 1250 out of like 1800.
What wasn't it out of like 24?
Well, no.
Or
So
the
when I took it, they had the right. So traditionally there was the 800. There's 800 for
Math,
math,
English, and
800
writing.
for writing, and then they added a reading section, a reading comprehension section.
Oh.
And that's what it was English. So it was math, English, and then they added a reading comprehension section, and that was another 800 points. I've heard that since then they've combined it back to 1600. So it was
Yeah,
added 2400, and I got a 1250.
Okay. Yeah.
And so then that didn't mean crap. And like I took the ACT, and I took the first time I took it, I got a 20.
Good.
Second time I took it, I got a 21.
I got 2000.
But they changed the numbers again for ACT.
Oh no.
For your SAT, you got a 2000.
My SAT, I got
That's
2000.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a 2400.
I was 24.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay,
So yeah, that was a good score. And
Yeah,
like,
that was a good. If so,
Yeah.
it would be bad for me if like we didn't have the SAT because I
Yeah.
feel like I got accepted to most colleges because of my SAT score because my grades were pretty low. Like I had like a 3.6 GPA.
you had a higher GPA than me in high school. I had a 3.5 in GPA.
But,
Well,
yeah.
yeah. But
so the SAT kind of just gave me instant access to all the CSUs.
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's see. So yeah, so I can see that. Like, it's if you see, the thing is, I feel like the SAT and ACT, like they only test a certain learning type. So the people
Yeah.
who can take it and they're like, if you're good at that sort of like the way of being tested that way,
Uh-huh.
then you're fine. But like it proved nothing about me. It did not because I got a 1250 doesn't mean like I was like stupid.
Yeah.
Obviously not. And so I just think it's unfair because it can disqualify people or it can make people feel inferior about their academic ability when it's not accurate. But you did pretty good. That's great. And now you're at Cal State Long Beach, right?
Fullerton.
Oh, you're Cal State Fullerton. Okay,
Yeah.
and so now you're also doing Zoom classes too, right?
Yeah.
Or-
A lot of stuff is asynchronous. I prefer the asynchronous. So like
What's
just
asynchronous?
you're basically self-taught. So you're like he'll give you the
Oh.
textbook and then there's these assignments and I honestly work better that way, just going through the textbooks
so-
and then he'll have like special meeting times. You can go in if you have any questions.
So he doesn't even lecture.
They'll clear it up. Yeah, no, so not
That's weird.
some
How
class.
many
And then I
units are you
have
taking?
this other teacher who
Yeah.
does do a lecture, but he's not really good with all this computer stuff. So he kind of just has a camera, a whiteboard, and it's all blurry, and he kind of talks. And so I'll skip those lectures if I don't. I just want the lecture. So I'm pretty much just paying to self-teach myself.
Wow, that's ridiculous.
And how's that turning out for you? Is it easy for you?
I
or-
honestly, I mean, I've been doing pretty good. I got an A, like an A average, couple B's.
Nice. Any tests?
Yeah, the tests aren't too bad. You know, I'm assuming they grade easier now because of the whole COVID and because of this.
I see.
So it's like,
yeah.
but
Wait, so I was gonna ask you about how many units are you taking this semester?
I'm taking 12.
12. Okay, so it's just enough to be full time.
Yeah.
Okay. And is this your last year?
No, I still got like 2 more.
2 more. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Nice.
Did you do community college first, or did you just go straight to Cal State?
Yeah,
Fullerton?
community college, and then I took.
So in spite
stopped
of
going
that
to
20,
college.
that 2000. In spite
Okay,
of that
so
2000, yeah.
okay, so what happened when I first went
Yeah.
to Fullerton?
Yeah.
I had gotten the financial aid and they approved everything, right? And so
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
accepted. I accepted it and I went.
Yeah.
And then like the week right before, they took my financial aid away. They said because I guess they wanted like more documentation. I guess they were like, there's no way somebody could live off of this little money or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they took it away, but I still had to pay the tuition. And I was like, well, I kind of don't have a 4K lying around.
Yeah.
And I didn't have credit cards at that time because I'm like fresh out of high school. My parents didn't
Well,
have any
good
of that.
thing you didn't pay for college on credit cards. That would be
Yeah.
a big mistake.
Well, because they said after, like, once it does get, they would have reimbursed me or whatever. But That's like
oh,
if-
I see. Okay.
if they approve the financial aid, and so
Yeah.
I was like, well, I guess I'm not doing this anymore. And then I
So
went
no.
back to, then went to Harvard College.
Yeah,
which
no,
wasn't that bad.
that's where I went to. You know, it wasn't bad. Yeah. In fact, actually, see, I'm of the opinion what you do is you go to community college regardless, because then you don't have to take the ACT or the SAT. You just go to community college. It's cheaper, and then you figure out what you want to do because you don't have to worry about, unless you know exactly what you want to do. Like if you know exactly you want to be an airplane pilot or whatever, you go to the Air Force, you do whatever, do your thing. But you can figure out what you want to do. It's cheaper. And then like you can transfer, and usually if you do really well in community college, it's easier to transfer into a bigger school than it is if you're like it's not as competitive from the high schoolers, for the high schoolers. Yeah, but actually, if you really like, I'll give you like just store this in the back of your head. If you like, do you ever intend to be married, Mario, and have kids? Or maybe not married, but do you intend to have kids?
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah. How about you? Do you ever intend to get
Yeah,
married and
no,
or
that's
have
part
kids?
of that's part of the plan.
Yeah, so remember this for your kids, and maybe laws will change, but like, dude, if I had known about this, man, I would have done things very differently. In the state of California, if you're under the age of 18, you can go to community college for free.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you can start going as early as 13. So check this out, and also most classes, like if you take like a college level like algebra class, you'll get dual credit. You'll get college credit and you'll get high school
Right.
credit. So here's what you do: you send your kid to community college at 13, and so just have them start taking classes. It doesn't have to be like a full load, but like and you do that like you can do that you can do that instead of doing high school classes.
Mhm.
And so then when your son or daughter graduates from college or high school,
You can have
they
an
also have an
associate's.
associate's degree.
Yeah.
Boom! It's like 18, an associate's degree, and probably some other credits, and like you just go right into 4-year college. And like it's like, and why not be like more prepared when you're 18?
Yeah.
And then also you can take your time in college. You don't have to be like, oh, rush. You can
Yeah.
do it in 2 years or do it in 4 years, and But if I had known about that, yeah, and then you'd save a ton of money because like it's like you don't have to pay.
You're already halfway done for free.
Yeah, exactly. So just remember that, unless of course they change things. But I doubt
Harbor
it.
Teacher Prep Academy. That's what they call that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a little different because actually,
it?
well, yeah, that's sort of the idea. It's dual
Yeah.
enrollment, but like you don't even have to do that. You could just
You
be going to
just-
Harbor College. I'm sorry, you could be just
I know.
going to like Banning, or you could be
LACCD.
going to Narbonne but so usually a lot of kids who take advantage of it are homeschool kids,
Yeah, that makes sense.
the homeschool programs, and so they because they after all, like most parents, they probably can't teach their kids like trigonometry. My parents couldn't have taught me trigonometry, so instead, send them to community college and they do it. So, but yeah, all right, so cool. So you're Zoom classing, and
Sir.
you're kind of like you're finding it's like you're just.
I don't mind it at all. I
You
prefer
feel like
this
you're
to going
paying.
in.
Oh, so you don't mind at all, okay?
No, well, I mean, it's like I don't have to drive for an hour.
Yeah.
I don't have to take these send these classes where like if I already understand and then they kind of go on.
Yeah.
I feel like my brain is very quick paced. I just go on my own pace.
Oh, okay, cool.
Kind of read through
Oh,
a
good.
textbook. That doesn't bother me at all. But I know
Yeah.
for other people, like not everyone's
Yeah.
brain is wired the
Yeah.
same. So
But then, what do you think about Zoom? Like, do you think it's a?
do you have a Zoom background like a? green screen? I do.
No. You do? What is it?
I'll switch it up. Like if the class isn't that like serious or whatever, like I had to take an oceanography class last semester because I haven't fulfilled that requirement.
What's the background?
Oh, it was so you're familiar with Little Pump?
Yeah.
So I would just put his music videos in the background. Yeah, those was fun times. He liked it.
That's
He was
funny.
like, "Hey, interesting background there." And then my favorite moment of that class, I know we're kind of segueing here, but
Okay.
so it's oceanography, and then one of the students, and this is like a university, right? So one of the students asked the professor if he can eat sand, like because it's salt from rocks.
Wow.
Can you eat sand?
Wow.
He was like, well, you can eat sand. He's like, yeah, you can. This is what the teacher said. And another student is like, wait, why can you eat sand? Like, how is that safe? Oh, I never said it was safe. You could just eat it. He's like, oh. And then he had to
Wow.
go over the
Wow.
reason
Nice.
that
Well-
why you couldn't eat sand and why you shouldn't. And,
Wow. And that kid's in college.
and then the original student was like, oh, that's why they closed down the beaches, huh? 'Cause this is during March.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That was
The
pretty funny.
aptitude is enormous.
That's why they closed on the beach. That's why you close on the beach.
Oh wow.
We in the
Nice.
sand.
Okay.
It was
Oh,
fun. I'm pretty
man.
sure he was memeing. Like he was obviously.
Yeah, I
memeing,
know,
but,
yeah.
Yeah,
it was
but
pretty
people
fun.
I
hope
usually like to
so.
hang out with.
You do hope so. That's a good point.
Yeah. So okay, so do you like have you been noticed and now so we got your opinion on the Zoom class. What do you think about your peers? Like do you think it's like do you think they're doing okay? Do
Oh.
you think they care? Do you think
Kind
do you think this is like
of.
yeah.
I kind of hate this one period because I have auto body for
Oh,
my
really?
sixth period.
How the heck do you do that on Zoom?
I don't know, but I really love that class because it's really hands on. But
yeah.
you can't do nothing like virtually. So what he makes us do is take notes around like the car parts and like
Yeah.
everything you have to go through.
Yeah.
And he goes relatively quickly,
yeah.
but I could keep up. But it was so annoying. Every like 2 minutes, it was like, oh, well, what was like the last two sentences for like a whole 40 minutes. I was so annoyed because they kept on telling the teacher to go back to the everything, and couldn't they keep up, man? It was like it wasn't even going that fast. I was just so annoyed that day.
Wow.
It was so annoying. It was
Wow. Auto, that's a really cool class they offer.
You know what a rack and pinion is?
what's that?
Oh, never mind.
What?
The rack and pinion.
Rack and pinion?
Yeah.
Is that a car part?
Yeah, it's like a kind of controls your like your front wheels, kind of like the suspension, something like that. I don't know.
No, never.
I know.
Mine, I was told by a car person that mine it was leaking. I need to replace it. But after me and my dad took a look at it, the leak was something higher up, and then anyways, yeah, I was just wondering. You're going over car parts. I was wondering if you knew what that was, because
No,
I
I
was like,
don't.
how does that leak? I don't understand.
I don't. I haven't even heard of it.
Yeah, I don't know much about cars myself. I know I figured out how to change my own headlights.
Nice.
Yeah, what type of headlight fluid are you running?
Headlight fluid?
Headlight fluid, yeah.
The headlights have fluid?
Do you not use headlight fluid?
No.
No,
What?
that's not a thing.
Are you playing a joke on
Sorry,
me?
yeah, that was
That's not a
that's
thing.
an old meme.
I was like, was it
Oh
one-
yeah,
Yeah,
I remember
you
that
gotta-
video where the guy sends the girl to
He's
go
like, go-
buy
go-
quote unquote headlight fluid, and she goes in and he's like, "There's no headlight."
Yeah, the joke is like they send, I think it's like army people or something, the original
Yeah.
show, and they send a guy, I need you to go to the store, get us some elbow grease and some headlight fluid. And the guy goes, right? He's like, those guys think I'm an idiot. There's obviously no such thing as elbow grease. Once I come back with that headlight fluid, they're gonna know not to mess with me. So,
That's hilarious.
yeah.
That's hilarious. That's pretty funny. No, I had to see that video. But no, this was
Nice.
was
fun.
gosh, I haven't had to change the headlights on my current car, but this was back on the my Volvo. Do not buy a Volvo.
Volvos are pretty reliable, I've heard.
The old ones were,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
when they do break, they are expensive to fix. It's not bueno. So
It-
okay, so this is your last year of high school,
Yes.
Mario. Like, do you think you guys are gonna have a prom?
Oh, teachers have been saying that. Yeah, definitely, because we're going
Virtual
back.
prom?
We're going back on second semester,
Oh, okay.
and they're like saying like there's a really high chance of us having a prom and going back to school.
Okay.
I feel like once the presidential elections are over, it'll probably
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
go back to normal.
Biden. Well, I guess maybe we're going to talk about it now.
Hey,
Go
what a
for
There
it.
you go.
segue.
So, all right. So, okay. So, all right. Trump wins the election. What happens? Schools stay closed, or they
No,
open
they'll,
back up
they'll
again?
probably open up. I feel like Democrats will stop pushing it as far.
You don't think so? Okay. All right. So, in other words, they'll kind of like put them in their place. Like, so if Trump wins, it's like almost like they'll like humble the Democrats. Like, okay, we're not
Yeah,
gonna-
it's like, all right, well,
we'll stop
I'm sure
fighting.
they'll still be riled up and accuse them
Of
more
course.
Yes.
over
They'll probably-
conspiracy.
And do you think like if Trump wins, do you think there's gonna be some crazy protests?
And I don't think so.
I would say so, because they're already they're looking for any reason to protest right now.
Oh,
Like they're
man.
burning down car dealerships for no reason.
Ugh, I would not want to be in Portland right
Yeah, it's bad.
yeah,
now. Oh.
it's very peaceful, guys.
New
It's a
York.
very peaceful.
Did you know that New York City, like, there's been a mass exodus of people? Like, people are just moving out in droves, like, just leaving the city.
Really?
Yeah.
Not like temporarily, like moving out.
Leaving, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
it's like a really crazy.
You guys heard of CHOP?
Yeah, I heard about Chop.
CHOP, and it's like
that
like-
was crazy.
yeah.
In Seattle.
So yeah, these people decided that they don't want to be part of their city or the U.S. anymore, so they established their own little police-free or something area, and then it became totally
wow.
crime
That's
infested and it was a
that's
mess.
just
It's called
Yeah.
CHOP.
Yeah, yeah. What stood for something? It was like the. Yeah, I don't know. So Chop stood for something, but okay. But anyways, okay. So Trump wins. You think it'll probably the schools will open up faster?
yeah,
All
definitely.
right.
Yeah.
But if Biden wins,
Oh no, they just want to shut down everything.
yeah.
Like we can't be shut down forever. Like that's not how the economy works.
Mm,
So, yeah, if Biden wins,
yeah.
definitely.
Kamala
going
wins.
down.
Yeah, and obviously they don't have a chance, but got to talk about them anyways, because that the only way you can talk about them is that I mean, so the only way you're gonna ever get the word out there is if you talk about them. So then, what if the libertarians win? What do you think would happen?
Whom?
See, actually, and I gotta learn her name.
I don't know their name. I remember last election I knew their names.
It's
but-
actually a woman. The
Oh.
libertarians nominated a woman for their presidential candidate. Let me look it up. But I mean, yes. And then there's obviously the Green Party.
the Green Party. What do you guys think about the idea that if Trump were to identify or claim that he identifies as a woman,
Ha!
and then he would become the first woman president of the United States, would I feel like that'd be like quite a paradox for people who believe in that, because like if they say no, he's not a woman, then they're going against the fact that you can't just fluidly change your gender.
That would be pretty
They
darn
contradict
funny.
it. Yeah, but if they take it, then they lose the. He becomes the first woman president.
Wow, he should do that just because. And then,
Yeah,
and then,
that's
then
definitely.
leave office and then decide that he's a man again.
Yeah, gender fluid.
That would be hilarious.
That would be pretty good.
Yes.
That almost like, you guys know The Onion?
I'm familiar with the Onion.
So this the Chicago Tribune is a big newspaper. They own this little parody newspaper called The Onion.
The Onion, yeah.
And they make just joke news. And so that's something that they would something that they would come up with, like Trump claims to be
Trump identifies as a woman,
Dude,
becomes
identifies
first
as a
woman president of the
woman.
United States.
first woman.
Oh my.
Oh my gosh. Let's see a libertarian
Joe Biden.
Libertarian Party, Libertarian candidate for 2020. Yeah, her name's Joe. Right. I think it's short for Joe Jorgensen. So Joe is short for, I think, is it Joanne or
Jenkins.
Jenkins? No, it's a woman, but she's a woman. But anyways, Joe Jorgensen. So yeah, Joe Jorgensen.
Joe Jorgensen.
If she wins, what do you think? Like, open
It's
up
gonna.
faster?
Well, I don't even know what her policies are.
Yeah, well, she's libertarian. So libertarians, I can sum up libertarians for you. It's pretty easy. They're just pretty much like minimal government.
I'm okay with that.
Like it's like no government at all. It's all they're all about individual rights, states' rights. Yeah, they like.
Well, then I guess if she's elected, then I guess it all depends up to the state. Well, if she's elected, then California will definitely remain close.
Well, she's running for president.
He's running for,
For
yeah,
the
so if you don't
House.
believe in government, but you're running for president,
Yeah.
Well,
how does that?
yeah, how does that work?
I'm sure I'm missing a big chunk of what being a libertarian is.
Yeah.
We should try to
I
find
mean,
one.
I'm not terribly familiar with all their policies. I just know that they're pretty much just like, you can sum them up in like they're live and let live.
Living in
Like,
there.
I'm gonna do what I want. You do what you want, and so long as you don't infringe on me and I don't infringe on you, we're cool.
That's fine.
And they got and so, who's the Green Party
Yeah,
candidate?
there's a lot of identity politics going on.
All right, so Green Party is
Don't worry
Howie
about it.
Hawkins.
Howdy,
Howie Hawkins, and Green Party is essentially they're more or less progressive Democrats who like their biggest priority is the environment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like just everything about them is just like environmentalism. So
But I feel like environmentalism is like a problem of the privilege, right? Because
it's an interesting point, exactly, because go ahead and tell China, well, not China so much anymore, but India. It's like, why shouldn't they get the industrializing?
right, because we did it all. We got to become like
Yeah.
a global powerhouse, and now we have all these other countries who they're not worried about how much fuel or whatever is going into the environment. They're
Yeah.
just worried about how they're gonna get food on their table for
right,
their kids.
exactly.
They want to run a gas range, and so
Yeah, they
trying
wanna-
to shut
they
that
wanna make a
down.
living.
I see.
I
what
don't think
you're
it's
coming
fair.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. Yeah, it's yeah, but meanwhile, you can say, well, maybe we all should be Amish, because you look at the Amish and like they're like practically stuck in like the 1820s, and like they
Right.
seem to be living a pretty good, thriving life. Like they don't need gasoline. They got horses.
No,
Yeah,
that's a big
everybody's
question.
gonna be riding around horse,
Man,
dumping all over the street.
man, Lil Nas X rides a horse.
That he does.
Yeah, because you can't
He
whip
also-
you can't whip a Porsche. So I gotta say that's a pretty clever line.
You can't whip a Porsche. You can
Well,
though.
how's okay? Now the line's gonna slip my mind. So it's come on, what is it? It's
Riding in the horse. Something
Yeah.
something Porsche.
no, yeah, so it's come on, it's I'm gonna
I've
take
been
my
in
horse.
the valley, you ain't been up
I
on
got
a
the horse
Porsche.
in the back. I can ride a horse. Well, I feel so silly. We should know this, but
I
anyways,
don't know. I never listened to that. Well,
yeah,
I did, but
it's
never
but essentially it's like oh, that's what he says. He just says riding on a horse. He says riding on a horse. You can't whip your Porsche. I've been in a valley. You ain't been up your porch now. It's clever.
Good times.
Clever,
Like 10 years from now, we're gonna look back at that song in the same way that we look like at somebody that I used to know, where it's kind of like just that one song was the big.
Yeah, I mean, you know why he's called Little Nas X?
Why?
Because he says he wants to achieve like superstar status, like Michael Jackson status by the time in 10 years.
Okay.
So that's what the X is for.
I think that's
Lil
possible.
Nas
No.
X. No,
No.
He's a flash in the pan. So like he's got his Panini. He got
Tickets to Fame.
Old Town Road. What's the other one? Rodeo. But like
Old Town Road's the only song I know of him.
he's
so.
gonna fade away. You know. It's,
Most rappers in the industry.
well, yeah.
Like, remember Fetty Wap?
Nope, never heard of him.
Yeah, Fetty Wap.
Heard of him?
That wasn't big. It wasn't a big enough flash that I didn't see it.
Damn. Well, I'm oh, what's it called? 1738, something like that.
Oh yes, I
that
heard.
was Fetty Wap.
I
Well,
would
he was a-
always hear that song in the radio.
I'm like, hey, what's
and
up?
it got
Hello.
overplayed.
Oh,
Yeah.
And-
I never heard
and
it.
then
Remember
it's
Call
just-
Me Maybe?
Yeah, there you go. That girl.
Yeah.
Totally disappeared.
Gone.
Yeah, like I don't even know her name.
Carly Rae Jepsen.
Okay, there you go.
Have some respect.
Yeah.
Just a little
Of course
bit,
you
at
would
least.
know this.
Have respect for the one hit wonder. Oh man. Yeah, that's typical
Oh yeah, talking about celebrities. That's was yesterday the first year anniversary of Mac Miller's death?
Oh, was it? I think it
Because I
was.
heard everybody was posting.
see, who's Mac
I remember
Miller?
one time that really pissed me off. It was after he died. Like, me and my friends we were driving somewhere, and then she was driving. I was in the back seat, and then my other friend was in the front. And then she's like, "Oh, you guys heard that Mac Miller died? Like, it's so sad. Let's play some of his music." And then she proceeds to play the Ariana Grande song. And I was kind of upset because I actually was like a big Mac Miller fan since middle school, and so I was like, the disrespect to play the way. And to tribute Mac Miller, you're playing Ariana Grande song.
Damn.
That's funny.
Yeah, I was.
Wait, was
really
it when he
upset.
was featured in? Or
Yeah, the one where they were dating at the time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then he was featured in the song, and so I think that's like the only way she actually knew Mac Miller.
I see.
I was
Was
and
he
Put some
He was a rapper.
blues
oh,
like
was he
Park,
was he,
man.
was he a particularly large guy by chance? Was he tall?
No, he
So
was
we couldn't call him Big Mac Miller.
no Big Mac Miller.
Easy Mac.
Easy Mac.
Was he,
Most-
His
was
first
he
album.
Easy going. He could be Easy Mac Miller.
No, that was his one of his like first album.
Oh,
Yeah.
did he?
Easy Mac.
Did he have a lot of diarrhea? Could we call him Chili Mac Miller?
Mac Miller.
I'm sorry,
Well,
that's vulgar. I'm sorry, everybody who's listening. We'll bleep that. So, now, what do you think is more likely?
I felt like I was gonna say something, but I
sorry.
forgot,
Oh,
and my mind just got
Sorry.
blocked for some reason.
Have you heard the album Circles? It came out a while ago, but
Yeah,
it's,
it's
by
good.
Post
amazing.
Malone.
no, but
Oh, really? It's not.
Mac
No, it's
Miller.
Mac Miller.
Oh, it came out after.
it
his
was
death.
after it's like the music he was working on, and his producers and close friends kind of finished it up.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty good. And then he has songs in there where they kind of like, people like to hint about how he has showing you signs of depression or whatever.
Oh, did he commit suicide?
No, he
no,
overdosed.
yeah, didn't he?
No,
He overdosed.
He was like battling
Which
with
is pretty
addiction.
much suicide.
He was
Yeah.
well, yeah, I guess if you consider it just destroying your body like that. But he was basically battling with addiction, and he like was on and off with like being
Oh,
sober,
yeah.
and like there was slip ups. So I guess he was
Yeah.
being sober for a while, but then I
Yeah.
think he overdosed.
And then there was talks of how, because you know how he was with Ariana Grande,
Yeah,
and then they broke up, and she was dating that one comedian dude, and like he would like talk so much shit to him, and like text him or whatever, saying that how he does his girl or whatever, his ex and stuff. It was weird.
Mm,
I forget his name. He has big lips,
damn.
but that's all I hear. I don't have sources for
messed
that.
up.
That's just what I've heard.
so
But
he'd like taunt him over text.
he would like taunt him. Yeah,
Wow, that's really messed up.
that's pretty. Yeah, it's messed.
Sounds pretty immature.
Yeah, some people just I don't know what's wrong with them.
Yeah.
Bad.
So okay, so now, do you think so? It seems I don't know about you guys, but it seems like for I would say the last, I would say maybe since like 2012, maybe the last 8 years, it seems like we're always on the brink of something bad's about to happen. You know what I mean? And then like then the next thing happens, like it just ups the ante, it ups the ante, it ups the ante. First, like there was a recession, and then like, oh, we can't let Obama get reelected, and then there's like oh, but then that nothing happened, so it upped the ante, and then like, oh, what else happened?
Wasn't there an oil spill? I remember there was like some sort of
Swine flu.
Well, there's always been the oil spills and stuff, but yeah,
Like
yeah,
a really
exactly,
bad
yeah,
one.
that's right. There was that
I
was
was very little. I
that was
remember.
2010, I think, and like yeah, there was some like offshore oil platform in the
And then
Gulf
it
of
caught
Mexico,
on fire.
and yeah, like it just started spewing out oil. Yeah, that was
I remember
yeah.
I was very little at that
That's right, yeah. And then there's and then there's been hurricanes and there
Well,
was
7
this,
years
this and
old.
like it just everything's up the ante, and then and it's just and it seems like it just like every day there's and then like Trump gets elected and it's like that's so controversial and then like and then there's like China and Russia and then it just
Gender
seems like,
reveal
and then now
parties.
there's like and then there's and
California.
Black Lives Matter and then like the first
Yeah.
time and then it happens again and then it's just I mean I don't know it
Antifa.
seems like for me like it seems like the ante's always being raised. It's just like something that either something's gonna break, but it seems like something's gonna burst, but like somehow it doesn't happen and then like it's okay for a little bit and then like something else happens. It's like oh my gosh, and so like this question is kind of it's a 3-part question. So like is it like is that going to happen again? Like is all this hype because right now this is what I mean like as in like if we thought in 2017 that like in 2020 there was going to be a pandemic, a really contentious election going on, and then like talks about like something going on with China and and the Russia interfering with the election, all that stuff. Like we'd be like, oh, that whatever. That sounds like fiction. That's not gonna like look what we're in. We're in a pandemic and a really contentious election, and so like and like people are like rioting in the streets. I mean, like they've been rioting or
Everything's on
protesting.
fire.
Yeah, and then California's burning down right now. It's like so like.
World record 2 million.
I heard it was a boy. by
Is
the
this
way.
like
Oh.
as worse as?
Really?
And so
That's
my
nice.
question is like, is this as bad as it's gonna get? And then it's just like, we're just gonna like, oh, we're just gonna keep going,
Yeah.
ease on, or is this are we about to like have either A, Civil War or B, World War III, or something else?
I don't think
rapture.
either.
Like, do you think this is a big build up to a disaster, a crazy like, earth shattering disaster, or is this gonna be another thing like, yeah, we'll get through this?
Honestly, it's really hard to tell since
What do you think?
I,
I
th-
can't tell the future.
I think we'll get through it. I don't think
Yeah.
a civil war would really pan out for like a civil war between who would you say?
Well, here's my thought.
Uh-huh.
Is if there was a civil war, wouldn't it be like 1860,
No.
let's line up and shoot each other sort of thing. That's pretty much what they did.
Yeah.
It's really funny how war has changed quite a bit. My thought would be is so. Did you hear about the Kyle Rittenhouse guy in Wisconsin?
Yeah, Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Was it that one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
The guy who went, he was like going to protect a business, and like he had an altercation with a couple people and he shot them
Right.
to defend himself, or whatever, and killed some people.
Mm-hmm.
And you see videos of him. He wasn't like out for blood. He wasn't like out there like he was like a normal guy. Of course, he was stupid that he was carrying a gun, and he obviously was putting himself in the wrong place. But he wasn't like an
Right.
he wasn't going out there to like antagonize people and like kill people. It's like he wasn't like the Columbine shooters. Like, you can't compare the two.
Right.
But nevertheless, the whole point is like there's protesters and then there's people with guns trying to protect businesses or whatever, or counter the do what the cops apparently can't do. So my thought is, but it could go any way. But my thought is what the Civil War, a second Civil War, could look like, is it would be places like Portland
Mm-hmm.
being like a CHOP sort of thing happening again. And like it's overrun by, protesters and rioters and whatever and all of the above. And the law and order, we'll call it, law and order kind of people coming in as like militias and kicking them out.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, like something like the CHOP pops up,
Right.
and then people from outside the city are like, screw that, we're coming and taking the city back, and they come and they just like light up the place with all their guns. But then of course that was the funny thing about the CHOP, is they're all like, oh, anti-police, but they actually, they established their own police force. And they had armed guards in the CHOP.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, and like it essentially kind of became like a, I guess I was watching this one video that this one rapper in the area like essentially became like the head honcho there, and he was like giving people guns and
Yeah,
like,
I heard that.
what is this?
That
It's
crime rose
Mad
dramatically in
Max.
those areas.
Yeah.
Type of level stuff.
So that's what maybe, but I don't know, maybe it could straight up turn into like like Texas is like, screw you, we're leaving the country and
We're gonna
come
be our
fight
own
us.
thing.
I don't know. I mean,
And I moved
That'd be
to
kinda
Texas.
cool.
or Biden refuses to concede the election, or Trump refuses to concede the election, and then it could be more severe like that. But I would say it's probably more likely it'd be like militia is trying to turn against the the protesters, and then the protesters wanting to defend themselves, and and then somehow whatever it would either escalate from there or so that's what I mean by civil
I
war.
could see that happen.
Or and then in the case of World War III, it would be like things are looking pretty rough with China right now. Like Japan's like pulling out a large majority of their manufacturing. They're moving it away from China.
I heard China still has concentration camps.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, China's awful. I mean,
I know. I don't understand why so many people are supporting China.
it's because they've got because cheap
Yeah.
labor,
Uh-huh.
cheap manufacturing, and because and because they're it's almost for the same reason why people like Trump. It's because China's willing to do the dirty work and do the dirty work for you because they like literally do the dirty work. Like they pollute their country like there's no tomorrow. But anyways, yeah. So there's there's issues. And obviously Trump has all kinds of issues with China, and then India is having border disputes with China, and Mongolia. There's a part of like there's ethnic Mongolians who live in a part of China, and they're like protesting. And there's like the issues with the Uyghur Turks, and then also the Tibetans. And so, anyways, there's a lot of tension around China right now, and so there's a thought, and China's trying to build artificial reefs out in the ocean so they can claim it as their own land. So if that could explode into a global conflict. So this is, I guess, really long preamble to the question of like, do you think one of these things could happen, like a World War III or a civil war? Because it seems like we're at a really tense point, or is it just gonna we're fine, and then we're just gonna go back to normal, and
Yeah, I don't. I
a
wouldn't.
couple years later, something even crazier is gonna happen.
Yeah, I think I'm agree with Andres.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
we're that close to World War III. People have been
Yeah.
being scared of World War III ever since King Jong Un first started making those really bad
Yeah.
missiles.
Yeah,
They're like, oh, he's gonna attack us, and Donald Trump isn't. He's making it worse.
yeah,
And it's like, well, that's not really that big of a deal. And because if anybody tries to throw a missile our way, I mean, they're pretty much gonna get deleted, right? And so if an actual big world war happens, then we're
Yeah.
pretty much just gonna have to delete the Earth. It's sort of I don't think anybody would really win that. I feel like we're at a point where we can't
Have one.
I can't have
risk one. Like everyone's too scared of that.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
So World War III, and you don't think Civil Wars?
I don't think Civil War. That's it. I think it's possible,
Yeah, that could be.
but I don't think it'll be that big of a. I think it'll be over pretty fast.
Okay. The U.S. military will just come in and just clean house.
Yeah, that's too big of a force. I mean, there's so much money in the military. We have we're protecting other nations, right, with our
Yeah,
military.
pretty much.
So
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad you guys are optimistic because I don't know what the thing. I'm trying to be optimistic, but it's just like I said, it seems like in the last 10 years, this has always been something upping the ante, upping the
Yeah.
ante, upping the ante. Like it just it seems like it plateaus. It's like okay, like could it get any worse? And then it gets worse,
yeah,
and it's like
No, it's
And I
maybe
think-
it's the end of times.
maybe so.
yeah, and I think because when we've been peaceful and we haven't had any real threats to the U.S. at least in a while.
Yeah.
I feel like people really try to find something to, they're trying to look. Everybody wants to be like a victim and have something to fight for. So we're trying to find the next horrible thing.
Yeah.
And once it blows away and it wasn't that bad, well, what's the next
Yeah.
bad thing?
Man. Well, what else do you want to talk about, Mario?
I don't know. Let's talk about anime.
Yeah, let's lighten up the
All right.
place.
Yeah.
So you recently started watching ReZero. How was that?
It's weird because it's like any other anime. It's like the designs are typical, the plot is the same, but yet it's amazing. Like I don't know, I just can't explain.
So I'm assuming Larson is not familiar with ReZero.
I am not familiar with
So
anime.
let me-
Period.
Really?
So let's go.
Yeah.
Let's step back a second and discuss the concept of a isekai.
Okay.
So it's a genre in anime that has
Mhm.
become overly saturated the past couple of years,
Mm.
in where a human, typically like a nerd, video game guy,
Yeah.
he's living life and he either gets killed or somehow gets magically transported to this fantasy world, right?
Mhm.
And then they live this overpowered fantasy life in this anime world, and that's kind of the overly saturated
Scenario.
genre that we are living in.
I see. So it's been a recurring story.
Yeah, every season of anime, so we have you have maybe 3 or 4 new isekais come out, and this one is definitely one of the better, one of the
Amazing.
best, I'd argue.
It's amazing.
It's pretty
Good.
top
Amazing. I
tier.
watched-
What makes it good? The story, like the
The-
writing,
the writing.
or the artistry, or
I don't know, man.
Well, like you said, the artistry is kind of on par. It's good,
Mhm.
it's definitely, but on par with everything else. That's
Yeah.
okay.
it's nothing too out of the ordinary, but it's the writing and just the storytelling and how crazy it gets and like the psychological trauma that he endures apart from just the crazy like action story that's also happening. Because what his power is, for those of you who don't know, is he at one point, so spoilers I guess if you haven't seen ReZero for whatever
I
reason.
probably won't
Watch it.
it.
It's amazing.
I mean,
It's
amazing.
I could add it to my list, but dude, I may never get around to it. It's just like my life is just that way. You know?
I believe you, but
Yeah.
but if you ever do, just watch, man.
Okay. All right.
It's amazing.
But yeah, so eventually he's so confused, right? He's just running around trying to figure out what's going on, and he runs into some hooligans, and then he dies,
Huh.
and then only to wake up when he first
Okay.
spawned in again. And then he has to do that whole interaction over again, and he just kind of has to keep trying to fix his mistakes that he's done.
Oh.
And so over through the course, he'll keep messing up, and he'll keep seeing the people he loves die, and then he'll have to revert back to a spot.
Okay.
And then
And they
he'll be
wouldn't
like, he'll
remember a
lose all
thing.
the connections that he's made. So the person
Yeah.
that he may have like fallen in love with or whatever, like doesn't even recognize him anymore, and he has to go through that whole thing.
I think
again.
that's probably what really got me into it, because he was building a really amazing like romance with this one girl. I forgot her name.
Amelia?
I'm really good at remembering names.
Amelia.
Yeah, Amelia.
Yeah.
It was like going super well for him. It was like, but then he dies, and then
He
when
gets
he
like
dies,
brutally murdered. In his
yeah,
sleep.
brutally murdered, and
wow.
like she gets murdered too. And then she goes back, and she goes, and then he gets revived, and he goes back in time, and then he sees her, and he talks to her, and she doesn't recognize him. And I was like, I think that's what really got him hooked up, because I really wanted to see him achieve that romance,
Yeah.
I guess you
Yeah.
could say. And I guess that's what really hooked me up to it.
Because you want to see it try it happen again.
Yeah, because I can't like it's like that's probably one of my worst nightmares. Probably like you building an awesome connection with this one person,
Yeah.
and then it's just suddenly erased. I feel like
Wow.
that's like a biggest fear,
Yeah,
and
that
I
is a crazy fear to have.
yeah,
I mean, sorry, so it's a legitimate fear.
and I guess
Um,
that's what really got me hooked up to it, because I was really cheering for him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I guess that's what really
He's a very stand-up guy.
So then, interesting. So then, it's a bit like that Tom Cruise movie where the one where like he's like what's I forget what it was called. It wasn't Oblivion. It was the one where like he's a soldier and he keeps like every time he dies he just wakes up in the same like back where he was.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
I'm not familiar with it, but I'm sure that this isn't necessarily a new.
Yeah. And now, was this originally in
Concept.
Japanese and then they translated it into
Yeah,
English?
yeah.
yeah, definitely like most.
Yeah.
Well, like most. Okay.
Most anime.
Are there ever stuff that's made like it was made originally in, or maybe even Korean or like?
Oh yeah. So recently, there's big anime like companies, kind of like a Netflix called Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
They recently
That's great.
yeah, Crunchyroll. They're so there's manga, right? So manga is like
Yeah.
the comic books in Japan,
Yeah.
and in Korea it's called manhwa, and it's kind of a
Okay.
different format. It's kind of like online, and it
Okay.
just scrolls downward.
Yeah.
And so Crunchyroll has recently like poured money into the manhwa, and they're turning some of the biggest manhwa into anime. So those were Korean first. So the two big ones right now are it's called Tower of God and The God of High School, which is currently airing.
God.
And they're pretty good. Like this is some quality stuff. So they're opening up a whole new like Pandora's box, but of good
No wonder
Korean
the
stuff.
animation looks different.
yeah, it's like a whole different artists, different representation.
Huh. Okay.
Tower of God. I never.
You gotta watch Tower of God. Tower of God is really good. I love it.
Well, like what's the concept?
We're gonna go on that concept. Oh, there's this tower,
Nice.
and God is at the top.
Well, this is like Tower of Babel.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it draws themes from there. But yeah, so like people are like there's like the regular world, right? And a lot of poor people or whatever, and you're struggling. And then certain people will have certain virtues or for whatever reason, and God's just like, you know what? Let's let this guy come into the tower. And then you'll like suddenly open and like the gates will open the tower. And then there's like I think there's like 100 floors or something like that. And so you have to like go through a bunch of trials and tribulations to make sure you're not a danger to the tower that they go through. But obviously it's all corrupt and rigged, and there's a bunch of like inner like plots or whatever going on, and it's pretty interesting. And then you follow the protagonist. It's some guy who lived like underground or something, and he was like lonely his whole life. He didn't have a family or whatever. And he met this girl called Rachel, and he like fell in love with her, not like in a romantic way, just like as like a friend. It was his only friend. And then she ditches him to go to the tower
Nice.
because she wants to see the stars because she was never able to see the sky or whatever. They were like underground or something.
Yeah.
They haven't fully explored that. And so she ditches him, and then he's still in love with her, and somehow he follows her into the tower, and then it's just his journey and to try to follow Rachel's footsteps.
Is it like fighting scenes?
Kind of, it's a shonen.
Oh,
for all
I
intents
see.
and purposes, but it's a pretty good fighting scene.
Shonen, what's that?
So shonen is another genre of anime. It's like kind
There's
of the
many.
yeah. So think of like Dragon Ball Z or Pokemon. It's kind of like the like this is like this underdog guy becomes powerful and he goes through this journey and meets up with friends and stuff.
It's basically more towards teens and
Mhm.
kids,
Okay.
Yeah.
like more.
But it's a pretty
towards-
broad term,
Yeah.
so you can take that with a grain of salt. But it is a shonen at the end of the day, and it's a really good one.
Shonen.
And then there's seinen or seinen. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Wow.
And that's the more dark, gritty, like adult stuff.
Interesting.
But
Huh.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about anime, so it is
Yeah, we're a
really
bunch of
intriguing
weebs.
because it's a huge culture. Like, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of content out there.
And it seasonally
It's
has
grown.
been a uprising of a lot of people.
Yeah, it seems
Watching it.
it seems like it's become very like it was already kind of popular in America, but it's become really popular.
Yeah, it's kind of like, how comic books have totally entered mainstream nowadays. I feel like we're entering the low stages of that.
Oh.
But every live action anime film has been total and complete garbage. Similar to how comic book movies were in the beginning too. So hopefully
Yeah.
they'll get better.
Interesting.
I don't know about you, but I really like the live action Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, you know what?
Dragon
I
Ball.
actually saw
Just
it.
kidding. I'm just joking.
I
Evolution.
actually saw it. That movie was
You
ridiculous.
poor soul.
Like,
You watched
it? Was
it?
actually rather my cousin and I. We were on our way to flying to Berlin, Germany.
Okay.
It was playing on the airplane, and we just watched it and we're just laughing. It was so absurd.
So bad.
Like one of my favorite my favorite parts from that movie, like how absurd it was, is that the one guy, like he's the guy who sets the traps, or whatever. Like he's some character. What he does is like he has traps and you fall in his trap and then he robs you or whatever. Or is this ringing any bells?
No, I don't.
No.
But anyways, he
I've seen the movie.
His name's Goku, right?
Goku, yeah.
So Goku and the girl he's with or whatever.
Bulma.
They're like going somewhere and they fall in one of his traps and they but anyways, but they later in the movie like they team up with him or somehow, like, and he drives a Hummer. He drives like a crazy like decked out Hummer too.
I only seen the trailer.
What a badass.
Oh, wait.
I feel like the
And,
people
like-
that made the movie were like,
And I love how like it's like they're racing in the Hummer to go find Piccolo or whatever. He's at the Grand Canyon or
Incredible.
something.
yeah, that's where.
And like but it's hilarious because like he's like, oh yeah, they're racing to get him, and they had to like show a shot of the speedometer, and of course the Hummer was going 180 miles
Of
an
course.
hour.
as Hummers do.
And it's like exactly
Yes.
yeah 180 miles, and then like it was just so absurd. It's like we were just like, what is this movie? And then they drive off a cliff. They're like, oh okay, so now he drives the cliff, but then the Hummer starts to fly. It's like, what is
What the
this?
frick?
Well, they have flying cars in the Dragon Ball universe at least.
Well, I guess yeah.
But I feel
Yeah.
like the directors or the people who made the movie, they're like, they got the first issue of the manga, right? They saw the front cover, look
Yeah.
at the back. Oh yeah, I get the idea. We
Yeah.
got this, and they
Yeah.
just made a movie based off of that.
But it was
Because there was nothing
yeah.
that was
Oh,
any
God.
it was barely related. Like
Yeah.
only the names were
That's
stolen.
just your description alone.
yeah.
I saw that when I was like 6 or 7, and I hated
Yeah.
it.
I watched the
Then-
trailer and I was like, nope, I'm never watching.
Yeah, but it was I would say it was very amusing, the absurdity of a Hummer going 180 miles an hour and it wasn't even on a road. It was like just in the middle of the desert, just like
Oh,
off-roading.
nice.
It's like, yeah, right. And then it starts to fly. It's like, okay. So,
And they're technically supposed to be able to fly themselves faster than that. So
Really?
why are they a car in the first place?
yeah.
But,
But oh man, that's funny. Man, speaking of movies, when are they gonna open up the movie theaters? Because Tenet just came out.
Tenet well, they have some drive-in theaters that they're playing Tenet at.
No, really?
Yeah, I'm going
in
to
Southern
one.
California.
Yeah, I'm going. Oh, well, me and my girlfriend were supposed to go today, but we're gonna go tomorrow instead.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know,
Robodo. I'll send you a link.
send me a link.
Yeah, they're doing Tenet,
don't
and
have
it's
a
really
car.
cool. Like it's like just like the old days. You tune into your radio.
Yeah, we are not sponsored by Tenet, but that's like I don't watch movies much, but like I really like Christopher Nolan,
Uh-huh.
and so
Yeah.
Except I haven't seen Dunkirk. I need to go see Dunkirk.
Dunkirk
but,
was
like,
great.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I was told that like Dunkirk wasn't so much good because of the story, so to say. It was really good because it was really visually beautiful.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the shots just
Yeah.
I was blown away.
Yeah, I'm glad you told me because I was like, man, it sucks. Like Tenet, like it's not out. It's out, and you can't go see it. Like I read an article about a guy, he flew to Texas just to watch it.
Just to watch it.
Yeah, $240 plane ticket
Nice.
round trip to go see Tenet.
Watch a movie again.
Yeah,
But yeah, it should be good.
yeah.
Wish I had that type of money.
Yeah, tell me about it. So yeah, well, at least that kind of money to waste on a plane ticket. Like I'll spend $240 on groceries, but I'm not gonna buy
Just
that.
wanted to take
But
it.
I'm not gonna spend it on a plane ticket. Oh man. Well,
Well, it's time to take a quick break for our sponsors, Blue Apron.
really?
Sorry,
I wish.
Actually, well, in some respects, Boys and Girls Clubs are
our sponsor.
our sponsor because they pay me, they pay Andres. They
do.
made this building.
They got us this
They,
equipment.
They got us this equipment.
yeah.
So shout out to Mike Lansing.
Mr. Lansing.
Yeah.
Yes, we love you, Mike.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I guess I don't know. Do you want to talk about anything else? We have been doing this like for an hour.
My back is hurting.
Okay, so maybe we should
Yeah.
call it a day. All right. Well, that was Bean Talk, episode 3 or 5, depending on who you ask. And why don't you close us out, Mario?
All right. This has been Bean Talk. If you have any like topics want us to talk about, drop it in the comments or wherever you can. Thank you for listening and tuning in. I hope you have a great day or night wherever we are.